We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
Good morning and welcome to the February 15th edition of Navigating the Astrological Matrix. I'm your host. I'm your navigator, Robert Phoenix. Welcome aboard. For the next 2 hours, we'll be discussing astrology, looking at the stars. I'll be doing live readings and talking about stuff. And I see that there are two people. I think you're both from Canada, by the way, on the hold portion of this experience. So you've been holding, and I see you. Hang in there. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to do a little bit of a wind up, and then we'll get into the reading bit. So thank you for calling in early and holding, and I will get to you. So today's birthdays, some interesting birthdays. I want to give a shout out to Miranda July, who is the daughter of my good friend Richard Grossinger. If you have not checked out Miranda's movies, I highly recommend them. She's pretty brilliant. And the film that put her on the map was Me, You, and Everyone We Know. Miranda she's kind of this amazing force of nature and pixie force of nature. She published a short story, like a collection of short stories, like the first thing she's ever done. And she won the Frank O'Connor International Short Story Award and pocketed $150,000. So she's pretty much got a golden touch and a pretty magical being. She has a very interesting trine, a grand trine, air trine with Uranus, Sun-Jupiter conjunction. And that's in the 8th house for her in Aquarius, and then Saturn in Gemini. So she has the ability to be inspired and disciplined. And Sun conjunct Jupiter, that's a money connection. So no wonder she made $150,000 on that collection of short stories. So today is Miranda July's birthday. It's also the birthday of one of the people. I always thought he was one of the funniest guys that I knew growing up. That's Harvey Korman, who was on the Carol Burnett show. Harvey Korman always put me in stitches. Super funny guy. This is the sound of a cough drop, by the way, going in my mouth. Let's see who else's birthday is today. Marissa Berenson, beautiful actress, and she plays Ryan O'Neal's love interest in Barry Lyndon, which is, I believe, one of Stanley Kubrick's most underrated and underappreciated movies. Her birthday is today. Today is also the birthday of Ira Cohen, who is a New York City performance artist, poet, painter, was part of the kind of the downtown scene. Angus MacLeese in Morocco, That's Ira Cohen, interesting character. You can check out his work. There's another pathway for you. And anybody else today? Ernest Shackleton, the explorer, his birthday, the tragic explorer, his birthday is today. And speaking of tragic, also Chris Farley. It's funny, Chris Farley and John Belushi are both Aquarians. And they're, Chris Farley was living out John Belushi's unlived part of his life, truly. So today the moon is in Sagittarius, and we've got a nice moon Venus trine going on. And let's talk a little bit about moon in Sagittarius. It's also, the moon in Sagittarius is conjunct the true node, which is good. It's a nice place to conjunct into. So moon in Sagittarius is about authentic emotional expression. Authentic emotional expression, meaning that you're going to tell people how you feel and get things off your chest. Now, hopefully, you've run through what you are going to share internally, and you can share it in a way that is really congruent. Today's the day where you can do that, especially in relationships. You can actually, with this moon in Sag, trining Venus in Aries, you can actually build on your relationships, and you can build it through truthful, honest, open expression. And, I think we'll all have a little piece of that at some point today. But in terms of not just interpersonal connections or relationships with this trine and the conjunction with the true node, and a wider trine with Uranus and Aries, there's a bigger truth that can speak to us through this Sagittarian moon. And we're living in a time on the planet right now where I got to tell you, it is really dicey. It is really, really dicey. I don't know how much you're paying attention to what's happening with Iran and Syria, but there is a lot of gamesmanship and a lot of propaganda that is being force-fed down people's throats. And it's because there are groups of people that are itching to have a war. And quite frankly, it's bullshit. I'm sorry. It's bullshit. And we're at a time now where, and I was just on Skype with Charles Frith, who was on the show on Monday, and we're at a time now where, we are 12 years, 11 years past, well, soon this year will be 11, past 9/11. And we've had 11 years to become aware and enlightened and hip to what's happening politically. And in fact, Zbigniew Brzezinski has even said this. He said that we are living in a time where there are more people politically aware than ever before on the planet. And it's true. And, I was on Yahoo yesterday, and I go to Yahoo News, and I read the comments on Yahoo News. And the big headline on Yahoo News was Israel was blaming Iran on something that happened in Indonesia. And the comments that were attached to that piece were like, yeah, right, bullshit, false flag. People are waking up. People are seeing the game for what it is. And this is part of the Sagittarian moon. This is part of the emotional expression, saying, you know what, enough is enough. I mean, this is ridiculous. What do you think, we're fools? You must think we're fools. You must think, look, that is so 20th century. That model doesn't work anymore. We are moving past that. People are getting their eyes wide open. Their bright lights are on right now. And to see this stuff is not only dangerous, it's insulting. It is insulting to how we can live our lives. And the problem is that there is no adequate channel to discuss or to have an opposing point of view. Like for instance, would it be great if 3,000 people went to the UN? How about occupy the UN? There is an Occupy scenario. Occupy the UN. Get in there, talk about, we have to have a viable channel to say, this is madness. It's madness. And it is madness. And and the mad part is, it's going to affect every single one of us. If they push this thing to tilt, it is going to affect every single one of us in ways that we can't even begin to comprehend. The most immediate way it will affect us is the price of gas, which will impact the price of food. And that's just the most immediate way. Once you open that Pandora's box, got no idea how this thing is going to go. And they are just itching and horny for war. Horny for war. So the Sagittarian moon, the self-righteous application of anger, clear anger and indignation is congruent with this moon. It's congruent. You notice how diplomacy is not even on the table anymore? You ever notice that? Not even on the table. Statesmanship, diplomacy. Yeah, but would you really want to send, even though she's not there anymore, would you really want to send Hillary Clinton to Iran for diplomacy? This is a woman that was doing cartwheels when she found out that Muammar Gaddafi died. That's not diplomacy. But what happened to the days when you would send somebody over there and say, "Hey, look, we're going to go over there. We're going to talk to you. What's your plan? What's your plan here? Okay, we're good. We went there. We talked. The plan is they're okay. We'll monitor the situation." That doesn't happen anymore. Now it's just this incessant beating of the war drum. And it's because the economies of the world are stalled. That's one reason. That is one big reason. There's other reasons. But look, enough is enough, okay? And it's enough. We don't need this. We don't need it. And I think people are tired. They're tired of it. Who isn't tired of this? Another war? Do we really want another war? Think about that. Think about it. And how's it going to go down? How is it going to go down? Yeah, it could have a false flag. We all know that. But is Congress going to vote on going to war? Is the Senate going to vote? Or is it going to be a UN NATO thing? Or they're going to sneak it through the back door? The U.S. will lead from behind again, just like they did in Libya. How's it going to go down? And can we stop it? Is this something that we have any kind of power over? Or are we staring down the last 26 days of your life, the scenario that Cliff High wrote about? Well, let's talk about something positive instead of the negative specter of what quite very well could happen. Let's talk about what is happening. And I got to tell you that over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I have been experiencing extremely profound levels of synchronicity, synergy, and what I would call the linking up of a psychic field. And I can't, one of the things that I have the opportunity to experience is I get emails from people who read the blog or subscribe to the newsletter or listen to the show. And some of the emails confirm in a very big way that something very interesting has happened beneath the surface of things. And that's just like one vector. There are things in my personal life where I will think of somebody and they will call, and it's happening just more and more frequently. I mean, it's something has shifted. I don't know whether it was the last solar flare and we're integrating, new levels of information, but something really interesting and profound is starting to take place. And I've always felt this way, in that we see this accrual of chaos and disorder and conflict and all of these extremely dark and negative markers, the metrics in the world, right? And so if you think of, everything has, if you go to Newton's law, right, everything has an equal but opposite reaction, force and reaction, right? So, or you look at as above, so below, as within, so without. So as we see this, massive chaos, confusion, strife, all those things in the world, there is an equal force that is counterbalancing that below the surface that you don't see. And this is what I'm talking about. So the more strife, theoretically, that we are seeing and experiencing in the world, the flip side of that, the yin to that yang, is what we're experiencing on an internal level and with each other. And I got to tell you, the level of synergy has just been really off the charts. And this is a time where everybody can tap into it. If you are living your life with a sense of right livelihood, and that is important for everybody to determine what that is for themselves, then you have an opportunity to tap into this grid. You got to eliminate the noise, and that's what I've been doing. So I'm continuing to do. The other thing I want to talk about before I get into the reading aspects, so I want to talk about Chiron in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. I think these are two of the most important aspects right now of our time. Uranus and Aries, don't get me wrong, very interesting, lightning fast. Everybody's kind of understanding their own personal power, their individuated self, in interesting, eclectic, radical, authentic ways. Don't want to discount that. But I want to talk about this Chiron in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces aspect. I had a phone conversation with a friend of mine this morning who's been in very in-depth therapy for the last year and making huge strides. It's like, again, here is the universe colluding to give somebody a really positive experience and a positive sort of nodal point or a touch point in their lives. He found the right therapist, or the right therapist found him. And it wasn't as if he went through a huge catalog and read, somebody's CV or the recommendations on Yelp or anything like that. The universe just stuck these two people together, and this person has been a quantum facilitator for my friend in helping him deal with some very dark and existential dilemmas in his life. And one of the things that, and I've known him for years, and one of the things that I've been sharing and living with him is I've been alcohol-free since late July. And the more that I get into that vector, the more I get to see, in a lot of ways, what held me back in the past, which is poor choices. And this is where Chiron and Pisces comes into play. Because I think Chiron and Pisces has the ability to give us a very sobering and lucid account of where we've been if we can divest ourselves of our addictions. And everybody has their addictions. Some are tremendously debilitating. Others are minor. But we have them. Now, can you manage a minor addiction? Sure you can. Absolutely. Do you want to live with it? That's a personal choice. So, as a result, my friend is now starting to look at his own relationship to alcohol, and he has a very different relationship with it than I do. Much more ingrained from a familial perspective, meaning that he has a kind of a tortured relationship through the maternal and paternal lines, but mostly maternal, so it's inherited. That's really not my case, so to speak. But what's happening is now he is looking at my life, which is not a screaming success in the world, but I'm managing to deal with everyday issues in a way that I haven't been able to deal with for a while. The complexity of shared parenting and a lot of other things. And now he's looking at his relationship with alcohol, and he made a decision the other night to not drink for that night. He didn't say not ever, but that night he consciously, clearly made a decision. And so what I'm sharing with you is that we are in this time where we are experiencing what's called dissipative structures, meaning that we have the ability to influence one another in ways that we don't even understand. And it's not that I am going to tell you or preach to you or bring down the 10 Commandments. It's not that. It's much more fluid. So we're talking about Pisces again. It's much more fluid, and it's much more immersive. And I think that this is a great thing. The other thing that Charles and I touched on today when I was talking with him was that the day of the guru is over. It is done. It is absolutely done. It's like it's really fascinating. I'm going to use a sports metaphor here. In a lot of ways, it really started for me with the football season this past year. And Tim Tebow obviously comes to mind. And his ability to not just have these kind of magical Tebow moments or not spout his love for his Lord and Savior. That's interesting. In a lot of ways, it's ancillary. But what he consistently did time and time again is he always brought it back to his teammates. He always brought it back to the team. This is not about me. This is about everybody else that is, putting their oar in the water to move this ship forward or move this boat forward. He did it consistently. And when it came time to be, the NFL had its playoffs, and a lot of times they will take current players who are no longer in the playoffs, and they'll sign them to a short-term contract and have them comment on a couple of games. Well, they asked Tebow to do that after the Broncos got eliminated, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that. And it was refreshing to see somebody not do that, to say, you know what, not interested. It's not about me. It's not what I do. I'm taking sabbatical, and I'm going to work on my football, or his faith, or whatever it is he was choosing to do. So let's fast forward. Here we are, 2012, and Jeremy Lin. If you haven't heard of Jeremy Lin, very interesting character. You're living under a rock, because this guy, he's Taiwanese American, and he's setting not just the basketball world, he's setting the sports world on fire. 0 degrees Virgo, opposite 0 degrees Neptune. That's what he is, 0 degrees Virgo. And ever since he's been promoted to the starting lineup of the New York Knicks, they haven't lost. And he scores 25, 26, 20 points a game, 27 points a game. And last night there in Toronto, he hit the winning shot with less than 4 seconds left. I mean, the guy is, I've never seen anything. I've been following sports for a very long time. I have never seen anything like Jeremy Lin. Never. And what is he like? It's all about the team. It's all about the other guys. And guess what? David Letterman invited him on the Late Show. He declined. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we are moving into something very interesting, and something that allows us to be fully who we are, and not at the expense of anybody else. And in fact, as we welcome their presence in our lives and their contributions in our lives, they exponentially grow. So we are living in a quantum universe. And it's very exciting. And I believe that that Neptune in Pisces, Chiron in Pisces is indicative of this. It allows us to, it's like a 1-2 punch. Chiron in Pisces, deal with your addictions, deal with your fears, deal with these things. And then Neptune in Pisces is apply spiritually based solutions. These are exciting times. These are scary times. These are challenging times. There's a huge amount of potential right now. Huge amount of potential. And we're only in the second month of 2012. Look, we got to get through March. March is a big month. It's a big month astrologically. I think Saturn goes retrograde in March, which is tricky. March is a very big month. We've got the Ides of March. We have to get through March. If we can get through March, then the next big zone is May. March and May are two very important months. So here's the deal. You know, you've got to be able to, right now, today, this moment, live like your life counts and that there's really no tomorrow. It's just the way it is. That doesn't mean you live recklessly. That doesn't mean you take risks, needless risks. You don't have to do that. But have that kind of awareness, because I think that's what we need. We have to be cognizant of what we have right now, right here. It's precious. And we can't let these fools take it away from us. And your awareness, your awareness simply has the ability to move the needle, believe it or not. So, all right. Let's shift gears here and let's get in on the phone calls. Let's talk with this person who believes in Canada. Let's see if they want to chime in. Hi, you're on here with Robert. Hello. Hello. Thanks for holding. Are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Well, I had some questions. I'm very unpeaceful inside, and I don't know what to do because I'm in a financial crisis. And there's two men in my life, and one of them, a friend of mine told me to draw a pie and see what it is that they can give me, because I always give and I never get back. And both of these guys can give me everything that I want, but one of them cannot give me, provide for me because he's been injured. Mm-hmm. And I feel closer to him, but then I worry, is he going to be able to provide for me, because I'm in a health situation right now, and my job, I don't know if I'll be working next week. And then the other guy, he's ready to move in with me and take care of me. And both of these guys are somebody from my past. So we developed a friendship over the years, because years ago it was just sex, but then we got to know each other over the years, and I'm talking quite a few years I've known both these guys.
Right.
So now I'm in a dilemma. I don't know which one to choose, because I'm in a financial crisis. Am I choosing one over a financial crisis? Or the other one, could I develop falling in love with him? Am I just being blind? I don't know which one to choose.
Okay. First of all, what's your name?
Michelle.
Okay, Michelle. So I want to give you something to think about, right? So I want you to flip the script a little bit. Instead of having the pie and slicing it up and asking yourself what they can give you, take that pie, slice it up, and ask you what you can give yourself. Okay, because I think that's where you need to start. And I think it's interesting and a good exercise to discern what their attributes are and what they share with you in your life but it's like I think you have to start with you, and then I understand that you are in a bind, and people do things for money. People do things because they're scared or they're anxious. But here's what I would like to advise you to do, since you've asked, is to take time out and put those two guys aside, and not think about them for a second, or at least a day, and think about you, and think about what you have to offer, what you have to share, what your gifts and skills and abilities are. I mean, I would like for you, instead of doing an inventory about them, to do an inventory about you, because I think what we're talking about here is value, right? And trying to understand what your values are. Your values are: do I honor love or do I honor money? So I mean, we're talking about values as it relates to character, morals, but we're also talking about value in terms of financial value. So it's value on two different levels. And so
I've always valued love, but in every man I've ever been with, I've given them everything. My home, my love, affection.
But what have you given yourself? I mean, this is what I'm talking about, because again, you're starting from the outside in, right? You're looking at these two guys to bring something to your life to give to you. And what I want you to think about, and even if it's only one little thing, not about what you give to other people and and the love that you put out and the love that you don't get back, theoretically, it's not necessarily about that. I would encourage you to sit down and draw up a list about what you value about yourself, what you have to share and to give to yourself, and not necessarily other people. I think it's an important process, and that's inside out versus outside in. And
I love helping people. I get a joy out of it.
Okay, well maybe you that's good. That's good. You don't have to answer the question here now. Okay, that's not what this is about. I would like for you to, again, you called in, you asked, I'm sharing. So I would like you to take time. I'd like you to take at least a day and just go out and walk and spend time with yourself. Who am I? What do I like? What do I bring to the table? What do I value about myself? And then write it down. I think just having an inventory, clear, and not be in panic mode and not be in anxiety mode, thinking, my finances suck and I got to pick one guy over the other. I think that's a lose situation. I think that's lose-lose, if you ask me. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be with one of these men, but I think you have to
see me with.
I think you have to get deeper in terms of your motivation. That's my 2 cents on that. When is your birthday?
October the 14th, 68.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. October the 14th, 68. All right. Okay, so you have Sun in Libra. You have Mercury in Libra. So relationships are very important to you, obviously, with both of those planets. You have you have Venus in Scorpio, which is challenging on some level. People that have Venus in Scorpio come into this lifetime basically to be disappointed in a relationship. I hate to break the news to you, but that's kind of the way it is with Venus and Scorpio, because the Venus and Scorpio nature wants more than anything to connect and join at a very deep level. And quite often what happens is that the desire to join at a deep level overrides the rational nature at times. And if the joining is not met or it's disrupted, people have Venus and Scorpio can be extremely jealous. But on the other hand, in the right situation with the right partner, they can be extremely giving. They can be very transformative. They can have a very profound effect on the person that they're with. But there has to be a level of trust with a person that has Venus in Scorpio. That's really important. Currently, you have Uranus opposition in your chart right now, and you have Uranus on your Chiron. And it's a very, very unstable, very, very unstable energy. And your Uranus is in Libra at 0 degrees, and Uranus is in Aries right now at 0 degrees. What is Libra? It is the sign of relating and partnering. It's a sign of finding your equal and all that stuff. And Uranus is the planet of disruption and eccentricity and rapid change, originality. So, there's a quality that's built into your chart that, quite frankly, is kind of unstable in its own nature. And you also have Chiron in Aries at 0 degrees. So you have Uranus on your Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer, and Aries is all about will and expression and, finding your will. You also have the true node in Aries. Are either of these guys in Aries, by the way?
One was born December the 28th, and the other one's born September the 5th.
So we're talking.
I'm not sure what sign they are.
Capricorn, and then Virgo. Of the two, the September what?
September the 5th, and then December the 28th.
Yeah, of the two, the September. I don't even know which one is disabled or not. If we're just going on astrology, the September the 5th person would be better for you. And the reason I say that is because the person who is born on the 28th is a Capricorn, and their sun is going to square your natal Uranus. Their sun is going to square your natal Chiron. That would not be a very good fit, trust me. Not a good fit. Because ultimately, somebody would get restless. There's also a great potential for conflict and argument. And that person theoretically could also want to run your show. So I don't know who that is in terms of your world. You've got Mars in Virgo. You've got Jupiter in Virgo. You've got Pluto in Virgo.
You know what they look like?
I don't know what they look like. I'm just going on their sun signs. So the September 5th person, from an astrological perspective, it would be a better fit for you. That's all I'm saying.
So how do I know which one?
Well, I just told you. You asked me, and so which one would be better? I didn't ask you who had the money or who was more physically able. I just asked for their sun signs, and I'm telling you.
That's the one you come up with.
I'm telling you, the one on the 28th, it will be a problematic relationship based on the angles between their sun sign and your Uranus and your Chiron. Can you overcome it? Maybe. But I don't think. See, the thing is right now, you've got this opposition between Uranus. That is not a patient opposition. I mean, that is a nervous, opposition. So if you're looking for somebody to build a relationship with during an opposition, which, quite frankly, I'm not sure I'd recommend. But that's up to you. You can live your life the way you want to. I would work on me now and not them. Again, inside out versus outside in. But if you feel like you're just compelled with your Venus and Scorpio to do this, you'd want somebody who you would have more patience with or have more patience with you. And based on the sun sign, it would be the person born on September 5th.
Huh. And see, the other one is the one that I feel closer to, but he's the one that couldn't provide because of his health issues. And we're both in the same boat because my health issues, I may have to have surgery. And, it's like, what do I do? Because my boss didn't have me come in. Am I going to have a job next week?
Yeah. Well, again, I didn't, normally I would say be with the person that you feel closer to, but I just see that as being, again, problematic. So, you know, the sun. But again, I would spend more time with myself. I would take a day out and just say, what do I value? What do I have? Who am I? What can I share? You know, could it be something where you don't have to? Let me ask you a question, and then we're going to move on. But what if instead of looking at these two guys and seeing them as, you know, your saviors, what if you said, man, maybe I need another job. Maybe it's time for me to get another job. And then you took your energy and you looked around and you found another job because that's really what you wanted. Now, all of a sudden, your relationship with these two guys changes a little bit and you don't look at them in the same way. So that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm fearful of. But the thing is I may have to have surgery. I got a vertebrae that has slipped forward, and you know, if I don't continue this job with this guy, which I hope and pray I do, because he pays me cash, if I go to get a regular job, I'll lose my insurance, and I have to have surgery. Then if I don't have the surgery, then I'll live in pain. If I have the surgery, who's going to take care of me and pay the bills?
Right.
See what I'm faced with?
I hear you. Have you ever, and I know this sounds maybe superficial, but have you ever tried any acupuncture?
No, I've thought about it in the past, but I've got 3 different diseases in my back, and I'm scared to death when I go see the doctor Thursday that they're going to tell me that I need to reconstruct my whole back. I can't even stand 15 minutes.
If you have, where do you live?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, okay. I'm sure there's an acupuncturist in Kentucky. And if you had a spare, and I bet you it's about $85, $90 to go see one. If you had a spare $85 or $90, I would go see an acupuncturist only because I think that maybe something on an alternative level might provide you with a different perspective and potentially some relief. So that's, I would try to think outside the box a little bit around that. And I'm not saying that Western medicine and having, you know, surgery in your back would ultimately be the right thing to do. I'm not saying that at all. I want you to start to think about options, because what you're doing, what I'm hearing from you is you're limiting and defining what your options are, and I kind of want you to think outside your options a little bit. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say goodbye and move on to the next call. You've got Saturn right on your natal Mercury right now, and Saturn on Mercury can be, and I just went through because I have Mercury in Libra, but many times with Saturn on Mercury, it really advocates that the person spend time with themselves and to kind of, you know, to cut off external noise in relationships to really get a handle on what motivates them with relationships. So I'm just throwing that out there. And Saturn's on your Mercury, and it's going to be there until August. And so, you know, I would take that under consideration. Okay. And think alternative and think options, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so there we go, Michelle. If you're holding, come back on. I'm sorry it took so long, but sometimes we have to spend time on the phone with people to try to get through these things. Hello, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. Hello? Hello? Sometimes when people hold for a long time, they walk away from their phones. All right, I'm going to put you back on mute. Here we go. I'll check back in later.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Oh, we got you both at the same time. All right, sorry. This is 480. Hi there.
Hi. Hi, 480.
That's you. You're 480.
I just want to make sure. Hi, this is Tricia.
Hi, Tricia. How are you today?
Good. Good. Thank you.
Good.
Good to listen so far. I guess I just wanted to ask maybe just a general question of just kind of how the next, maybe a couple months will go. maybe in regards to a relationship, or that's about it, really.
All right. When is your birthday?
May 11, 71.
Okay. 1171. Where are you calling from, Tricia?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Relationships. Well, let's see what we got here. It's Aries Day. So, May 11th. All right, so you have Venus in Aries. And Saturn is at 29 degrees Libra, and it's going to move backwards. And I think it gets to 24 degrees, and then it moves forward again, which means you're going to have a Saturn-Venus opposition. And a lot of times with a Saturn-Venus opposition, there can be impasses in relationships. There can be periods where a classic Venus-Saturn opposition would be something like, let's take time out. Not let's break up, let's take time out. Because there's a need in some ways to distance at times. Because Saturn's in Libra, Libra's a planet of relationship. It's opposed, your Venus, planet of relationship. So there can be a cooling of energies in relationship when that occurs. And it allows the person to, again, step back and kind of try to understand what their own needs are in relationship. As a result of that, sometimes it can be a little on the codependency side, because Saturn is form, it's structure, it's what we know, it gives us validity. But on the other hand, if we are afraid of letting that go or putting it on the shelf for a while, it can stir up our codependencies. So a Saturn-Venus opposition can bring that into play. If you don't have a relationship or you're not in a relationship, then what Saturn will do in that opposition is it will sort of train your sights upwards, meaning you will think about relationships in terms of aspiration, in terms of what type of relationship am I worth? What type of relationship makes sense to me? What type of relationship will challenge me to grow? What do I deserve in my life? I mean, that's, what am I willing to, say no to now in the present so that I can say yes to something much bigger in the future. So it's about, in some ways, about delayed gratification as well. So those are all factors that would come into play with Saturn opposing your Venus. Saturn right now is on your Mercury. So, and again, because Saturn's in Libra, you would be thinking long and hard about these things. And they'd be really kind of foremost in your consciousness. You have Uranus trining your natal Jupiter right now, and that's actually quite exciting. And it can be very fun to have very spontaneous activities. It's really great for creative visualization and creative insights, and some really cool things can happen with the Uranus-Jupiter trine. Travel, I don't know if you are thinking about traveling, but because you have Jupiter in Sagittarius, travel could be really exciting, really fun. And, it could be one of those things where, you might, actually have a fling with somebody if you travel. And that could be fun, sort of no strings attached kind of thing.
Right.
And then you've got Chiron in Aries, and just like the last caller, but your Chiron is at 12 degrees, and Uranus doesn't get up to 12 degrees until next year. So it gets close. I think it's like 8 degrees this year. And Uranus-Chiron conjunction, for all these people that have Chiron in Aries, it's all about trying to figure out what they want, what their will is. I'll give you an interesting example. I have a friend, again, this is relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And she has Chiron in Aries. In fact, right around the same time as the other woman we just talked to on the phone, and it's really funny. She's really into Indian men. She's not Indian. She's from a Latin American country. She's really into Indian men. So she started to date. She started to go on this Indian dating site, and she went through a couple of lumps of coal, and then she found this guy on this site, and she's madly in love with him, and he's madly in love with her. And the reason I bring that up is because she used some really unusual, for some people, an unusual way of going about what she wanted to get. And Chiron in Aries is about figuring out what you want and how to get it. And Uranus on her Chiron was, hey, let's use the internet. Let's go on a website that, prominently features Indian men. And now, Chiron hit her Chiron. She met this guy. They're gushy in love. And, but in order for her to do that, though, she had to put herself out there. And she also had to kind of risk the enmity of her ex-husband. And so she was activating her will through Chiron, and Uranus was helping her do that. So Uranus is going to conjunct your Chiron close this year, so it would be about figuring out what you want.
What if it's someone? It's interesting that you say that, because there is someone that I'm actually very interested in that I used to work with, but he's shows interest and then backs off, shows interest, backs off, and so I'm kind of just like letting it go, kind of thing.
That's Saturn. That is Saturn, literally, dancing with your Venus.
And he's a Taurus as well, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Well, you have Saturn in Taurus. When is his birthday?
April 27th.
So he's an early Taurus.
Correct.
Yeah. So, okay, if he's an early Taurus, you have Mars in Aquarius, by the way. And if he's an early Taurus, that means you're going to have Sun square Mars with him. And that's not terrible. But the thing, see, Mars, Aquarius is a fixed sign, and Taurus is a fixed sign. So if you get into conflict with a Mars with another fixed sign person, and Sun square Mars can be very conflict based. You can have great sex too, but it can also result in conflict.
Right.
I'd have to look at his chart. If there are other factors like you have a Venus conjunction and can smooth that stuff over, or you've got a Moon conjunction, or you've got a Moon-Sun conjunction. I mean, you can ameliorate the square a little bit. But if you don't have those things, then it can get challenging. I mean, I think ultimately, again, going back to Uranus on your Chiron, you're going to have this moment where you're going to figure out, well, what do I want, and how do I get it?
Exactly.
And so I would honor the dance between Saturn and Venus right now, and I wouldn't push things right now.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is it's not worth it to push it.
But travel. Go get away. I mean, you've also got Uranus trining your Neptune right now. You've got a really wonderful Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in your chart. I mean, if you had any extra money, you could get away, go somewhere outside of the U.S., travel to, I don't know, wherever you want to travel to. You'd have fun. You'd really have fun. So I definitely recommend a getaway.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, good. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Well, thanks, Tricia. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. That's Tricia. Tricia in Phoenix, Arizona. Was it Phoenix? I think it was Phoenix, right? Let's go back to our 780 number, see if he's there. Are you still there? Yeah, hey.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Jay, calling from Canada. How's it going, Robert?
It's good. It's good. Who's this?
It's Jay calling from Canada.
Oh, hey, Jay. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for holding. What's happening?
Hey, not too much. It's Aries Day, right?
Yeah. Are you in Aries?
Yes.
There's a lot of Aries happening. Must be the Moon Uranus trine or the Moon Venus trine, or no, I think that's probably it. So when's your birthday?
So, yeah. March 24th, 1964.
Oh, so you got Sun trine Uranus right now, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So April 24, you say?
March 24th.
March 24. Okay. And you're a dragon.
Yes, I am.
Let's see. So how's the dragon year been for you so far?
Pretty interesting so far. Let's see now. Right after the Chinese New Year, I lost my job, and I'm looking for a job right now, so it's interesting.
Well, congratulations.
I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's getting over the grief period, but when it was done, it was kind of disheartening. So
losing a job is, I mean, sometimes you lose a job and you're like happy, but even so, there's always something to kind of disconnect from and to unplug those cords. So look, chaos and kismet. Those are your friends. I mean, you've got Uranus trining your Sun right now. It's just Uranus trining your Sun is not. I'm sorry, Uranus is conjuncting your Sun. Even trining Uranus conjunct your Sun. I mean, this is not going to happen again in your lifetime, really. So, you want to take advantage of this. This is, the universe had the first move. The universe, unplugged you from your gig. And the good news is that with Uranus on your Sun, things can happen really quickly. You can change things on a dime. I don't think you're going to be unemployed for long. I really don't. It looks like you have a Leo moon. Is that right?
I'm not sure. Do you need my birth time or anything like that?
No, I think you've got a Leo moon, probably the late Leo moon. You also have Mercury in Aries. And like as I shared with the last caller, Uranus will get up to 8 degrees this year, which means it will conjunct your natal Mercury, which is great in terms of like processing information, making connections, really synchronistic, unusual things taking place and happening. It looks to me also like you've got a Moon Jupiter trine in your chart. You've got Jupiter in Aries at 25 degrees. So it's going to take Uranus a couple of years to conjunct your Jupiter, but you don't want to fry your circuitry all at once. So, I think actually this could be a very auspicious time for you, Jay. And what line of work are you in, may I ask?
Well, I have a service tech job, and I was planning. I had it all planned where I actually can move into my passion, but because it's a job loss, I gotta make up the income and things like that. So my passion is actually teaching, which I've done since 2010, in terms of spiritual teaching, actually. And that's where my passion is. It's a lot of fun. I see a lot of great things coming out of it. So I know this is my year, but the thing is that I just got to get over I have some blockages right now in myself right now, so I'm working on, and it's quickly dissolving, so I'm just working on that, so just see how things are going. But it's interesting, you're talking about March. What are you saying about March? Saturn is going retrograde or something like that?
I believe so. I believe Saturn goes retrograde in March. Let me get the minutes here, just so I know what I'm talking about. I believe it's March. Let's see. Actually, no, it's way ahead of the curve. Saturn is, my bad, Saturn is retrograde. I'm supposed to be a professional. I thought it was in March. No, it's retrograde now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's happening. It's at 29 degrees, and in March, that's when it actually goes to 28 degrees. So that's when it moves off of the 29th degree where it's at now. So your thing, in terms of your chart, let's get back to you. With your chart, you've got this Uranus in Virgo, and Chiron is opposed your Uranus right now, your Uranus. Chiron's at 4 degrees in Pisces. And, you know, you've got this really great Uranus-Pluto conjunction in your chart. It's separated by 6 degrees. And, you know, one of the things that teachers do, spiritual teachers do, is they provide service. They're at service for people, right? Mm-hmm. And so Chiron is in Pisces. By the way, you have natal Chiron in Pisces too, and it is actually in your chart opposing your Pluto. So this is kind of an interesting dynamic for you. You know, Pluto and Virgo, we're part of that generation. You know, we're here to help people. We're here to serve people. Teaching is part of that. You know, alternative health, getting people to think about, individuality in ways that are productive, not like Leo individuality, but, you know, healthy Plutonian, Virgoan individuality. Those are all part of, you know, Pluto and Virgo, but it's very concrete stuff. It's, you know, it's like solution based in some ways. And you have Chiron in Pisces, so it's an interesting Chiron. I mean, you're here. Chiron is the wounded healer, and so Chiron and Pisces, the people of Chiron and Pisces have a spiritual message to bring to the world. And what happens to people with Chiron and Pisces, or Chiron in any sign, is that at some point in time in their youth or in their adolescence, they get shut down. And so what happens is, it's like, okay, I've got to conform. I've got to meet girls. I've got to be semi-popular. I don't want people, you know, dropping bags of dog shit in my locker in high school, you know, stuff like that. So you know, unless you're super brave or you don't give a shit or you're zoned out on drugs, you tend to put that stuff aside. And that's where Chiron gets, you know, truncated and shut down. And so for you, it's about, you know, being openly spiritual. You know, that's wearing your spirituality on your sleeve, or, you know, that's Chiron and Pisces, not being afraid you're going to be burned at a stake if you know, share a thought to somebody that is unusual or different. And because it opposes your Pluto in your chart, you have to work out kind of like Virgo in a lot of ways is very conventional and very conservative. So you're having to work out this underlying need to share this, you know, panoply of spiritual insight and wholeness and immersion, which is Pisces, and at a particular risk or at a certain risk of being ostracized or not accepted. And then you've got Pluto and Virgo adding this layer of like conventionality over it. It's like, well, what's acceptable? How do I do this? How much do I share? How much do I let out? And what's really interesting is that all three of your transpersonal planets, Uranus, Neptune, and by the way, your Neptune is in Scorpio, almost an exact trine with Chiron, which is good. But Neptune, Uranus, and Virgo, they're all retrograde. They're all retrograde in your chart, meaning that when you have something like a setback with a job, your retrograde planets could kick in and remind you, right, or reorient you, or reset or reconnect, you know. So it's all it's retrograde, you know. So you have this opportunity now in some way to, you know, be able to, you know, flip your script. Pluto, by the way, transiting Pluto in Capricorn is trining your natal Uranus. That's brilliant. That's really brilliant. So, the long way around this, Jay, is that I think you can accomplish both things. And I think not, you know, figuring out a way. And I'm doing this today. I'm going to be honest with you. I have a job interview today, at a phone job interview at 3:00 today, and I have to, and I have to do this because, you know, as much as I love doing this, you know, it's not, you know, it helps. You know, people do, you know, get readings or they donate every now and then, you know, and I'm able to, you know, sustain myself. But I've got a kid. I got to keep my lights on. So I've got this thing coming up today, and my challenge is balance, because I feel like things are happening on the radio show, things are happening on the blog, things are really taking off.
Yeah.
So my challenge now is to integrate this, and that's going to be your challenge too. And I don't think it's an either or piece for you. I think you can do both, and it's about how creative you can be and how committed you can be. And if you choose it, you can do it. I'll tell you one more story, and really struck me, and you can share whatever you want. I love watching Anthony Bourdain, and he goes to all these different countries, and he was in India, and he saw you met these two young Indian guys who were working 16 hours a day, and they were doing two different jobs. And they were just doing it willingly. They were into it. And I thought to myself, well, if these guys can do it, I can do it. They were actually really inspirational to me. And so that's why I've decided to go down this path and see if I can integrate this other thing to help pay my bills. I think it's your thing too. And I think you can do it. And now, especially with Pluto, trining your Uranus, and later this summer it gets up to 9 degrees, so Pluto's going to trine your natal Pluto. This is powerful stuff, and I don't think you should sacrifice your vision of helping people and being a teacher in the realm of the spirit, and also take care of the bills. You can do both.
Interesting. Thank you very much for the reading. I just wondered, can you do a quick compatibility thing?
Sure.
Between I'll give you the date, January 22nd, 1972.
So they're a rat. Well, are they a rat? No.
Yeah.
They are a rat.
No, they are a rat. January 22nd, 1972.
So rat dragon, number one.
Yeah.
Compatible. I mean, rats and dragons get along famously. So just from a Chinese perspective, as they say, no problema. And we're talking probably early degrees Aquarius. Let me look at your chart here.
The reason why I'm asking.
You've got all this fire in your chart. Aries, I think actually Aries and Aquarius are very compatible, to be honest with you. Sun,
does it look like on astrologically wise? Does it look like the same chart? Compatibility wise?
I'm not really looking at the chart, but you've got Sun sextile Sun. Here, let me just punch it up real fast. Sun sextile Sun, and that's actually and it's an Aries Aquarius sextile, which is really good. Fire air, right? It's super combustible in a good way though. Yeah, 0 degrees Aquarius. Let's see, Jupiter. So she's going to have, if it's a woman, I don't know if it's a woman or not. Is it a woman?
Yes. Okay.
So Jupiter, what do you got here? Jupiter trine Jupiter. Fantastic. Really dynamic, fun. You could have a lot of fun with this person.
Cool.
Yeah. And by the way, it looks like she might even have a moon, Uranus moon conjunction. So be her Uranus to your moon. So it could be very creative, very fun. Maybe at times a little. Here's what I would suggest: if you're interested in this person, they're interested in you, go out, play, have fun. Go to theater, go to comedy, go outdoors. Take in the arts. This is somebody that would appreciate that.
Cool.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you. Because I have a computer program too. It does astrology, but it looks for the time. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the Sun sextile and the Jupiter sextile. She's got a lot of fire. You've got a lot of fire. She's got Venus in Sag. So yeah, I mean, her Venus. I think her Venus trines your Mars. Doesn't get much better than that. Go have fun with it.
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks so much for the generous reading.
All right. Hey, you're welcome. You take care, and good luck to you, Jay.
Yeah, and prosperous blessings of, just love for that job that's coming up for you. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
For yourself.
As they say in Chinese, Gong Hei Fat Choi.
That's right. Happy New Year.
All right. I'll see you later.
Catch you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye. All right. It is, let's see, if I wait another 30 seconds or so, it'll be 11:11. Why don't I just call it 11:11 now? So that when it's actually 11:11, it's like, I'm slightly ahead of our time. I'm 30 seconds ahead of our time. One time I had this idea for a script, a film script. And everybody talks about, it's a time travel film script. And it was like, oh, wouldn't it be great to travel 10 years into the future, 100 years into the future, 100 years into the past. So I had this time travel script where this guy time travels like 3 hours into the future. And he travels 3 hours into the future to get lottery results. And so the whole thing is that he goes to the place where the lottery is happening, and there's a murder, and he witnesses the murder 3 hours into the future. And so he goes back in time, and it's this whole thing about if he goes and he lives out the history that's going to unfold, he's rich, but this murder takes place, and it involves like a child and stuff at the lottery place, it's like at a liquor store. But if he somehow understands that and knows that, he now has the responsibility to alter the future, and it changes his relationship with the lottery and the numbers. And it's like a whole thing on moral conscience. Anyway, that was a long time ago. All right, let's talk to the five and dime. Hello, you're on the air with Rob. Hello.
Dong Hei Fat Choi, it's Tiger Kate.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, well, I'm just kind of emerging from recuperating. It's been a challenge since fall equinox with skin rash off and on, which is kind of on again right now, and family emergency in December, and back and forth to Southern California taking care of my parents, and they're doing well right now and are about to celebrate their 63rd wedding anniversary. So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I thought I'd check in and see what's going on in my chart, and have you check on compatibility with this guy who I said I may be working with his consulting company, and that is still in abeyance and is starting to take shape, and waiting to see if there are going to be any signed contracts coming up next month. That's kind of where I'm at right now, trying to figure out what to do.
I may have your chart on file here. Let me just fire it up really quickly.
Okay, great. Yeah, I thought you might.
Let me just see. I'm pretty sure I do. Let's see if this is you. Let's see, 26th of May, 1950?
That's it.
All right, there you are.
Okay.
All right, so you've got Jupiter in your 12th house now, steadily moving towards your ascendant, which is good. And you've got, so you've got a Jupiter sextile going on. Jupiter, I think, is at 3 or 4 degrees right now in Taurus. So Jupiter sextiles are nice. They're not as powerful as trines, but they're still good. The flow is between them is good. Let's see. What else? You've got that Jupiter up in the 10th house. The thing with Jupiter in the 12th house transit, it's anything in the 12th house is a little tricky and hard to get a handle on. So with Jupiter transiting the 12th house, to me, the 12th house is like the universe or the soul or God, or, it's always got the first move, right? So what would appear to be like a miracle or a gift or out of the blue, that would be a Jupiter 12th house transit. The benefits of Jupiter, like for instance, Jupiter second house transit, very clear. It's like you're going to get money. You're going to get money. That's just the way it is. It happens. It's like, but with Jupiter in the 12th house, well, first of all, you get sort of the spiritual benefit of Jupiter, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get a monetary benefit with Jupiter. It just doesn't come about in usual ways.
Okay.
It's like for instance, all right, did you go down to your parents' place already, or are you going down there?
I've been down twice. I was there for 3 weeks in December, and I was just there the last week in January, checking in and making sure everything was okay and helping them out with some other challenges. So,
like a typical 12th house transit with Jupiter would be, because you've been there, you've been with them, out of the blue, they say, oh, we have this, whatever this is. It could be like an heirloom, or it could be, an old stock certificate or something like that. And they would say, oh, Katie would really like this. And it would be one of those things, and all of a sudden, bang, it comes into your life. It's that's how Jupiter in the 12th house operates. It's always just literally out of the blue. Now, it has an impact with the sextile of Jupiter in your 10th house, because that's your career. That's your house of career, right?
Yeah.
And the good news is that you have Saturn at 12 degrees, which means that Jupiter is going to trine your Saturn. It's going to trine your Saturn in 5 weeks or so. I'll tell you. So what that means is that you have the opportunity to not only have a Jupiter-Saturn trine, but also the Jupiter-Jupiter sextile. So it's a nice, and because Jupiter opposes your Saturn in your chart, it's a nice mediating aspect or angle that brings those two closer into balance. So that's good. I'll tell you the date here. Let's see. So you want to try to find the midpoint, which would be about 7-8 degrees, very soon. Like the first 2 weeks of March. First 2 weeks of March.
Okay. Before spring equinox.
Yeah, like from the 1st to the 10th, because at 10 degrees, it's still going to be within a 5-degree sextile of your natal Jupiter, although it'll have passed, but it's getting closer to your Saturn. So it still will impact those two. And you've got Pluto at that time at 9 degrees, as high as it goes this year. That's trining your natal Saturn as well. So Pluto-Saturn trine, you get a lot of work done, and very good. It's for high level, business and getting into management consulting. The Pluto-Saturn trine is fantastic.
Okay, that's good news, because by spring equinox, I want to have some things in place for my business to get that jump started again, and hope that some money starts flowing so I can put some structure around it, because I've been stalled with some things.
Amen to that.
Pardon?
I said amen to that.
Yeah, really. It's been tough. And I'm just, like you saying, going and getting a job interview this afternoon. I've been thinking about that, and I just have been struggling to go there. It's just like I don't know if it's that I'm stuck or I just don't want to do it, but it just hasn't happened, and something's got to shift. And so these things that you're saying sound like things are lining up so that energetically things are going to start shifting for me, so I'm going to feel more motivated or whatever.
You've got Mars in Virgo, and right now Mars is right. It's retrograde. It's right on your natal Virgo. So this theoretically should be a very motivating time for you. And you've got Moon Virgo too. So, for me, I'll just be, straight up. It's like, I can get very creative with how I move my money around, and pay this this utility a little bit later, or this I can slide stuff around, but I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really tired of it, and and I had to get to this point where it was just like, the sort of the bottom just dropped out of me last week, and and I was thinking, what kind of job would be good for me. I don't want a full-time job.
Right.
I've got a kid. I've got activities that he's in. I've got to take care of him for that. So, I found this thing. It's 30 hours a week. It's working with a gym/health club. The place is not far from his school, so, I'm letting go of, what I think, is the right thing to do because I got to take care of my kid.
Right.
So it's all about balance. I just have to, figure out a way to bring this all into balance.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about, because I went to an acupuncturist last week, and she said I'm really yin depleted, and I know a lot of it had to do with putting out enormous amounts of energy and power in December, taking care of my family, and then getting everybody, the flu going through the whole family, and me quarantining everybody and not having the support that I needed to do what needed to be done with, Mom in the hospital and everything that goes with that. And so, and now I want to gear up, and it's making me anxious thinking about, my energy and keeping that balance.
Yeah, that's Mars. That is Mars, just off your Mars.
Okay.
Yeah.
What just transpired, you mean?
Yeah, the energy and the anxiousness, absolutely.
Okay, okay.
But I think you bring up a really great point, Kate, because for a long time, I was a real night owl, and I'd stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning, banging away on my website or screwing around the internet, and I'd get up at 6, and it wouldn't be a problem. But I've noticed recently that I can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think transformation and change and having a momentum in your life takes energy.
Yes.
And we've got to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And I think to your point, waiting to get through all that stuff and being depleted, like what you just said, you need to be able to have a reservoir of energy to tap into to make change.
Yeah.
And so I think that your timing around this and your thoughts around it are very, very clear and good. And of course, Mars being retrograde in Virgo, it's got you thinking about health, your health, and what you need in order to move forward. So I'm with you on that. And that's actually very, very insightful and prescient on your part.
Good. All right. Well, then my intuition is right on, because I'm really working on moving forward a little bit and not wiping myself out, because that's not going to serve me in the long run or anybody else.
I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you just look at compatibility real quick with this date that I've got here?
The date?
Yeah, I've got the birth date for this guy, the consultant guy.
Okay, the consultant. All right, go ahead.
It's March 6, 1962. He's a tiger like I am.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. March 6th. Okay, let's see what we got here. You're going to have a Venus-Mars opposition straight out of the gate. And that is, it's good and bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Now, the Venus part is good because it's in your 11th house, which means you could be a friend of this person, and you can do like networking with this person for sure. The Venus-Mars thing is tricky though. Venus and Pisces is very nice and sweet, but it can also be very elusive and loosey-goosey. And Mars in Virgo is very, details. I want to be clear. I want direction. I want answers.
Right.
And Venus in Pisces is not always forthcoming with answers. Venus in Pisces can be very loving and very compassionate, but the thing you don't want to do with this guy is you don't want to put him on the spot.
Mhm.
You don't want to corner him with that, because that opposition won't serve you.
Okay.
You know, and I don't know if you have the patience for it, to be honest with you. But if you can be, now the good news is you have Jupiter in Pisces at 4 degrees, so you can kind of understand the Piscean way in some way, right?
Yeah, I do.
So you can kind of let things be, which can be good. He's got a lot of Aquarius in his chart. Mars in Aquarius, Jupiter in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, and
there is a lot, you say?
There is a lot, yes. A lot of Aquarius, and you don't have a lot of air in your chart except for that Neptune and Libra. So he's actually a pretty forward-thinking, fairly progressive individual.
Right.
I'll tell you what he doesn't have, though. He doesn't have a hell of a lot of Earth. He's got Pluto and Virgo, and that's it. Now, if he were smart, he'd hire you. Because you'd bring all that Virgo into the mix. Mars in Virgo, the Moon in Virgo, the Saturn in Virgo. You would actually be quite valuable to him, believe it or not. Yeah.
Well, I know that he's salivating for me to be much more active, but because of the challenges that I've had with him and see with other people too, that he's experienced, I'm not sure I want to get that close. I'm still kind of in trial mode here to see if this is going to work, if he gets a signed contract and work with him and see, if I can, this is going to work.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal, right? You've got all that Virgo, it's got to be real.
Yeah.
It has to be real. It's like he's got a lot of air and a lot of water in his chart, and some of it is, he's got Moon in Pisces too. What's real here?
Yeah. Okay.
What's real with this guy? Your litmus test should always, it's got to be real. It's got to be
okay.
Real. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and getting him to get specific and more concrete, and how is this really going to work, and what does it look like? That's been the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost impossible for him.
Yeah.
He's up in a big vision cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And people are waiting. People are looking for money. It's like, pay me.
Right.
We can only be in startup mode for so long. We've all got bills to pay, and it's time to move on. So we'll see what happens in the next 30 to 60 days. So, because I'm ready. Something's got to shift.
He's going through his Chiron return.
What does that mean?
Well, he's got Chiron in Pisces, so he's going to be part of, and it's opposing his natal Pluto too. This whole concept of being real is up for him.
Oh.
So it's not just you. It's like he has to come to terms with illusions in his life.
Okay.
And then that's going to happen. It's happening right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for providing some clarity and confirmation about what's going on, and hopefully we can connect one of these days soon.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Yeah, maybe you can go over to the point. We can say hi and go get some cheap Chinese food.
Sounds good. And good luck this afternoon. I'll be sending you lots of positive energy for your job interview. I hope it works out.
Thanks, Kate.
Okay.
Be
well.
Care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was my friend Tiger Kate, who I met at Harbin Hot Springs. Not Harbin, no. Wilbur Hot Springs. Wilbur Hot Springs. Yeah. I was naked at the time, by the way. But everybody's naked at Wilbur. It's funny how you meet somebody naked. Have you ever done that before? It's like you go to a place and you're both naked, but you're not sleeping with each other, right? It's an interesting way to meet people naked. I had this theory one time that all trials in a court of law should take place naked. Think about that. Lawyers are naked, the defendant's naked, the plaintiff's naked, jury's naked, even the judge is naked. If everybody was naked, I think the truth would come out a lot easier, don't you think? I mean, after a while, we'd get over it. We'd get over it, right? We'd get over the fact that people are naked. And it would just, would take place. The naked truth. Somebody's called in, and they have the name of T-Bone the Fruit. This could be interesting. Hello? Hold on, here we go. Hello, you're on the air.
We're on drugs. We're on drugs. Baby, we're all on drugs. Do you like drugs? Oh, baby, drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing that. Anything else you want to share?
No.
All right. Well, thanks for that, and
Thanks, man.
Have a wonderful, blissed out day. See ya.
Okay, thanks. You too.
All right. There we go. That was cool, right? We're all on drugs. It was fun. In some ways, who's this? I think it's Comcast looking for their money. All right. So it's 11:30, and God, where do I go after that? That was a bright and shining moment. When I saw that name, T-Bone the Fruit, I knew that call was going to go in an interesting direction. Okay. So why don't I play a little music, and then I'll jump into the chat room for a little bit. This is Gionda. This is her track. I'm going to play Gionda's track again. It's a very cool track. And I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and if nobody's calling in, I'll wrap up the show. Here's Gionda. All right, that was the lovely Gianda and Song to Save a Life, a Candle. People don't hear anything now? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, 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 hello. Refresh, hit refresh. This is a refreshing show. You have to hit refresh a lot, apparently. Okay, it is 11:37. Somebody by the name of the Shan Show, is trying to call in. This is your time, Shan Show. Yes, it is your time. Call. Let your fingers do the walking, as they used to say. The number is 347-308-8995. 347-308-8995. Paging the Shan Show. Paging the Shan Show. If you get on the phone and call in, yes, you get a mini reading. Yeah, let's take the drama out of the chat room. Come on in. Just do it. So, okay, while we're waiting for the Shan Show to call in, has anybody ever gone to the airport? I mean, you can't really do this now because it's so uptight. Here they are. Let's bring on the Shan Show. Hey, congratulations.
I got through. Look at that.
So what is the Shan Show?
I'm going to do my first blog tonight at like 10 o'clock.
Okay, and what's that about?
I'm going to be issuing out advice and stuff.
Okay, so your first blog talk
ever
show ever.
Yes.
Okay, and what time is that going to be?
10 p.m. Eastern Standard. I heard you mention it's like 11 o'clock there. It's almost 3 o'clock here. So. Yeah,
so we're different. And where are you calling from?
Cleveland, Ohio.
So is your name Shan?
My name is Shannon.
Shannon. Okay, so that's the Shan Show.
But apparently people are lazy and everyone just calls me Shan.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your inaugural, your maiden voyage on Blog Talk.
Well, thank you. I don't know how well it's going to go, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, hang in there with it. It takes a while.
It's okay. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want to look at today?
I want to do a mini reading, but I have like mini time.
Okay. When's your birthday?
My birthday is 3/15/1980.
The Ides of March.
Yes, sir.
That's my mother's birthday.
Is it? She's probably awesome.
You know, she is. I got to say, she is. She is. All right. So here we go. Looking at you. So it looks like you're a double Pisces, Sun, Moon, Pisces.
I can also give you my the actual time, if you want.
That's okay. You got Sun, Moon, Pisces, Mercury, Pisces. So you're a triple Pisces, straight out of the gate. Makes you very Pisces. Venus in Taurus, Mars in Leo. I think, Mars in Leo. Yeah, Jupiter, Virgo, Saturn, Virgo, Pluto, Libra. Not Luce Libra, but Pluto Libra. And Chiron in Taurus. All right, so where do you want to go with this, Shan?
What are my career paths?
Well, you've got a pretty heavy influence of Virgo in your chart. Jupiter and Saturn are in Virgo. So Jupiter is opportunity and Saturn is the lesson. And they're both in the sign of Virgo, which is service and helping people. And so that's a big part of your chart. But you're also very mystical. You know, you've got Mercury in Pisces, Sun in Pisces, Moon in Pisces. So the trick for you is to balance the practical and the mystical. You're like I was talking that with Tiger Kate, the guy that whose chart I was looking at. He was all like air and water. He was all just promise. It's nothing really grounded. You have the opportunity to be grounded and also be kind of out there and creative. You're very creative too. I mean, Mars and Leo can be very creative and very dramatic.
Is that why I was a nurse, an actor, and a teacher all at the same time?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So
makes perfect sense.
You have Uranus trining your sun, which means you're also quite unusual.
I am.
And you follow the beat of your own drummer. You're kind of quirky.
A little bit.
Yeah, and that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Am I also lazy somewhere? Because I haven't worked since like October, and I just kind of took a hiatus off of everything.
Well, you've got Venus and Taurus, and Venus and Taurus can be a little lazy. But Jupiter is in Taurus right now, and it's getting ready to conjunct your natal Venus, and it's getting ready to conjunct your natal Chiron as well, because you have Chiron.
So does that mean I'm going to do something awesome?
Well, maybe you'll be rewarded for your laziness. That's what I'm thinking.
I hope so.
Yeah, there's this book called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment.
Do I have to actually read it? Because that sounds like a little taxing right now.
It's a very small book.
Okay.
You would blow through it in about an hour.
Okay. That means like a day for me.
So, but you don't. You have a little bit of fire. See, fire is where we would derive like will and energy and passion.
Right.
And you have, let's see. It's interesting. You have Mars in a very wide trine with Neptune. You have Neptune in Sag, Mars at the final degrees of Leo, and so those are the only two fire signs that you have in your chart. And you're at the anaretic degree of Mars Leo, which means the fire is almost out. You're still creative. You can still do those things, but if it's not fun for you, in some ways you don't want to do it. That's the Mars piece. So
that's pretty much me, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just looking.
So what kind of work did your mom do? We have the same birthday, right?
My mother's retired, but when she was working, she worked for the Navy.
Okay.
And she's got a bunch of Aries in her chart. And so working for the armed forces, which is Aries, was a fit. And
okay,
so
one more quick
Go ahead.
question. I'm sorry to interrupt. No, I have to go pick up the kids from school in 5 minutes, and I'm being once again very lazy. Relationship-wise, what's going on? Judging by the charts.
Well, Venus and Taurus, you have the opportunity. Are you with anybody now?
I am currently in a long, stable relationship. Yes.
Well, Jupiter conjuncting your Venus would suggest that you would want to take it to the next level soon.
Really? See, I got flowers for Valentine's Day. Maybe that's an indicator.
Would you want to? So it's a long-term relationship?
Yes.
How long?
It'll be 2 years in April. I guess that's not really all that long, but I was married before that for 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jupiter-Venus conjunction, Jupiter-Chiron conjunction would be something along the lines of two people talking about living together.
Well, we're living together now.
Oh, you are living together. Oh, well.
Yeah, we just moved in October.
Okay. Then what's the next level? What's the next level after that?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
You want to get married?
Do I? Yeah, I will get married again. Yeah, I'm down for that.
That would be the Jupiter-Venus conjunction, the Jupiter-Chiron conjunction.
Okay. And he's a great guy. I love him, and nothing that I've ever had before.
Yeah, well, that would be that. Whatever you're doing, Jupiter-Venus conjunction is pushing you to go to the next level.
Awesome.
So if you're already living together, then the next level would be saying vows and saying, "Hey, this is it. This is permanent for you and I. We're having a sacred stand, between you and I and the universe." So that would be it.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Good luck on your show. 10 o'clock.
Thank you. You can check it out tonight. I guess in your time it's going to be 7 p.m.
Okay.
I don't know what we're going to talk about, or
maybe I'll call in. Maybe I'll.
I'd appreciate it.
All right, Shan.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's pretty much it. We've come to the end of the line. So I want to thank everybody for calling in, for being patient. Missed my friend Lenise today. She didn't call in. Oh, well. So thank you for calling in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. My blog is robertphoenix.com. You can check it out. Cool things are happening there. And cool things are happening here. And cool things are happening in your life, too. You just have to be able to open your eyes and understand that. All right. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to discern what's possible. I'll be back on Friday, and hopefully I'll try to get Constance Denby on with me. She's an old friend, and we'll talk about her life, her music, state of the world. She's very cool, and we'll try to get that hooked up on Friday. So we'll see you then, and enjoy this Sagittarian moon. Authentically express yourself, and don't look back. That's the plan. I'll see you on Friday.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.